Hey everyone, as a doctor who's spent over 3 decades guiding patients towards healthier eating, I've learned that where your food comes from is just as important as what's on your plate. Let's talk about steakhouse dining. It feels like a treat, right? But what if I told you that many popular chains are masters of illusion? They use fancy menus and mouth-watering descriptions to make you think you're getting a premium cut. The reality: behind the curtain, some are serving pre-cooked meat, using misleading portion sizes, and drowning subpar steaks in butter and sauce. You could be paying top dollar for something that's basically cafeteria quality. In this video, we go in to expose the chains you should probably avoid and highlight the ones that still deliver authentic, dry-aged beef with honest cooking. Let's make sure your next steak night is worth every penny. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips. Hey everyone, it's your favorite doctor here, and today we're diving into the sizzling world of steakhouses. But we're not just talking about flavor. We're cutting through the marketing gimmicks to see what's really on your plate. As a doctor, I'm not here to tell you to stop enjoying a good steak. In fact, lean cuts of beef are fantastic sources of protein, iron, and B vitamins, which are especially crucial for older adults needing to maintain muscle strength and energy. But here's the catch: when big restaurant chains prioritize profit, they often cut corners, compromising the quality, freshness, and nutritional value of their food. So, let's take a closer look at a few popular chains that might look appealing on the surface, but are hiding practices that could quietly harm both your wallet and your health. Let's start with a few that deserve a second thought before you make that reservation. First up, Sizzler. It's long marketed itself as the go-to, family-friendly, affordable steakhouse. But that affordability often comes with a hidden cost. Think about it. Most of the value on your plate isn't the steak. It's the cheap filler sides, the pasta, the bread, and all those buffet carbs that make you feel full before the main event even arrives. The steak itself, it's often pre-cooked, frozen, and then reheated. This process doesn't just kill the flavor, it drains the nutrients. Repeatedly heating meat also increases the formation of something called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds are linked to inflammation, stiffness, and oxidative stress, which are particularly concerning for older adults. If you're managing conditions like heart disease, arthritis, or diabetes, these are exactly the kinds of things you want to avoid. My advice: if you're craving a steak night, skip the buffet chains. You could spend the same amount at a small, local restaurant that grills your steak fresh to order. You'll get fewer carbs, less sodium, and a much more genuine and satisfying meal. Next, let's talk about Golden Corral and its illusion of all you can eat. An endless steak buffet might sound like a dream come true, but from a health perspective, it's a bit of a nightmare. Those steaks you see sitting under heat lamps, they've been pre-cooked, held for hours, and are often drenched in a buttery sauce to mask their dryness. When meat is kept warm for that long, its protein structure starts to break down, losing the quality of its amino acids, the very nutrients your muscles depend on for repair and growth. And let's not even get started on the calories. Between the buttery glaze, the mashed potatoes, and the dinner rolls, it's incredibly easy to consume over 1,500 to 2,000 calories in a single sitting without even realizing it. Remember this: abundance doesn't equal value. True value lies in freshness, portion control, and nutrient quality. A small, freshly cooked steak always beats a buffet piled high with sodium, fat, and disappointment. Now for a fan favorite, Outback Steakhouse. Its rugged Australian theme gives off an air of authenticity, but a lot of that is just clever branding, not expert butchery. Behind the scenes, many of their steaks are pre-seared and pre-portioned to ensure speed and consistency across all their locations. While that's great for business, it means your steak loses a lot of its natural juice and tenderness long before it even hits the grill. What's worse, they often use heavy sauces and those blooming butter toppings to disguise overcooked or lower-grade cuts of meat. For anyone watching their cholesterol or sodium intake, this can turn one dinner into a week's worth of extra salt and saturated fat. So here's my doctor's advice: if you find yourself at Outback, try ordering your steak plain, without any extra butter or sauces. That's the real test. A great steak should be flavorful on its own. It shouldn't need a costume. Let's continue our investigation into steakhouse chains that deserve your attention. Not for how good they look on the menu, but for what's really happening behind the kitchen doors. As someone who has advised thousands of patients on their diet, I've learned that what looks delicious isn't always what's nutritious. That flashy flavor, rich butter, or an oversized portion doesn't automatically mean quality. Take Logan's Roadhouse for example. At first glance, it has that wholesome country charm, peanuts on the floor, sizzling plates that look and sound so inviting. But most of that flavor isn't coming from the beef. It's coming from butter toppings, garlic rubs, and salt-heavy seasonings, designed to make lower-grade cuts taste like they're premium. Here, why that's a concern. All that extra butter and sodium can easily add 800 to 1,000 extra calories and over 2,000 milligrams of sodium to a single meal. For anyone managing blood pressure, kidney disease, or heart problems, that is a dangerously high level. These fat-based flavorings also do a great job of masking signs of poor meat quality, like an overcooked texture or a lack of natural marbling. My advice is simple. If a steak needs to be drowned in butter or sauce to taste good, it's not a quality steak. Ask for it plain or with minimal seasoning. If it still tastes great, you know you've got the real deal. Next, Black Angus Steakhouse. The name itself sounds like a classic Western ranch, and that's exactly how it's marketed. But in reality, most of its beef isn't sourced from small, local farms or hand-cut by in-house butchers. It's mass-processed and shipped through large distributors. Without proper in-house drayaging, the meat loses much of the tenderness and depth of flavor that define a true craft steak. Even worse, the taste can vary dramatically from one location to another, which is a clear sign of inconsistent quality control. As we get older, our bodies become more sensitive to sodium and the oxidized fats found in poorly stored meats. Overprocessed beef, especially when it's been reheated, can increase inflammatory markers and negatively affect digestion. So, before you order, don't be afraid to ask your server, where was this beef sourced and how was it aged? A trustworthy restaurant will be proud to tell you. If they give you a vague answer, that steak probably isn't worth the price. Let's move on to Bonanza Steakhouse, the heat lamp trap. Bonanza calls its food comfort food, but that comfort tends to disappear once you understand how the food is actually handled. Most of their steaks are par-cooked in large batches and then held under heat lamps for long periods. This practice helps them keep a steady supply of food ready, but it absolutely destroys the natural moisture and amino acids in the meat. What you're left with is a chewy, nutrient-depleted steak that might look warm but lacks any real vitality. From a medical standpoint, holding meat at lukewarm temperatures also increases the risk of bacterial growth if it's not monitored very closely. This is especially concerning for seniors or anyone with a weaker immune system or digestive issues. The best choice is always a place that cooks to order. A real steakhouse doesn't rush the process. Waiting an extra 10 minutes for a freshly grilled piece of beef is far safer and infinitely tastier than any buffet-style shortcut. Finally, let's talk about Ponderosa Steakhouse, where you might be paying for the bone, not the beef. Ponderosa loves to show off its hearty Western portions, but much of that impressive size comes from the thick bone weight that's included in the advertised portion. A steak, advertised as 16 ounces, might only give you 10 ounces of actual, edible meat, but you're still paying for the full 16 ounces. This illusion of abundance, combined with glossy butter sauces and dessert bundles, is designed to trick both your eyes and your wallet. For older adults who are trying to watch their calorie intake or manage portion sizes, this often leads to overeating, starches, and under-consuming the high-quality protein they actually need. My advice here is to focus on the edible weight, not the menu weight. Ask for leaner, boneless cuts, like a sirloin or a filet mignon. These options give you more nutrition per bite and much less waste per dollar. All of these examples reveal the same pattern. It's all marketing over honesty. The more showmanship you see, the big bones, the sizzling butter, the fancy names, the more likely it is that you're paying for an illusion, not for real nourishment. As your doctor, I want you to enjoy your food, but I want you to do it with awareness. Because good health isn't just about avoiding bad food, it's about recognizing where bad food hides behind good marketing. We've talked about the steakhouse chains that often cut corners, but now, let's focus on the good guys, the places that still respect your health, your money, and the art of real cooking. Yes, these restaurants might cost a little more, but what you're paying for isn't just better flavor. It's the discipline, the precision, and the respect they show for both the food and the people they serve. As a doctor, I can tell you with certainty, When your food is prepared with integrity, your body absolutely knows the difference. First up, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, where you can literally taste the precision. Ruth's Chris is one of the few large chains that treats cooking like a science. Every single steak is cooked in a special 1800-degree broiler. This intense, even heat creates a perfect caramelization on the outside without drying out the meat. Now, why does that precision matter from a health perspective? When beef is cooked consistently like this, its healthy fats, like oleic acid, remain stable, and the natural iron stays intact. Overcooking, which happens all the time at cheaper chains, can damage those vital nutrients and even produce inflammatory compounds. And that signature butter finish at Ruth's Chris, it's not a trick to hide flaws. It's applied right before serving to seal in moisture naturally, not to mask a dry, overcooked steak. The staff are trained to follow exact timing, temperature, and plating standards. It's a level of care that shows they value technique over taking shortcuts. So, if you're looking for a special meal, this is one of the few chains where the word premium actually means premium. Next, let's talk about a place that surprises a lot of people, Texas Roadhouse. I know, it's loud, it's casual, maybe even a little chaotic, but behind all that energy, there's real, honest-to-goodness craftsmanship. Every single steak at Texas Roadhouse is hand-cut in-house, every single day. They are not using pre-portioned or frozen meat. This one practice makes a huge difference in both quality and safety. Freshly cut beef retains more of its amino acids and collagen, which are crucial for supporting muscle and joint health, something that's especially important for older adults. And because the cuts are done right there in the kitchen, you're paying for what's actually edible, not for hidden bone weight or excessive fat trims that get thrown away. They also keep their menu grounded. You won't find fake luxury names or steaks disguised in butter. The steak comes to your plate exactly as you ordered it, and that kind of reliability is worth so much more than empty freshness. For a weekly family dinner or a celebration, Texas Roadhouse is one of the few big chains where you can truly trust both the process and the plate. Now, for a classic that blends science with craftsmanship, Morton's The Steakhouse. Unlike so many chains today, Morton still believes in the art of controlled aging. This is where they allow natural enzymes to slowly tenderize the beef over 21 to 28 days. This isn't just about creating a more intense, delicious flavor. Proper dry aging actually reduces the hardness of connective tissue, which makes the protein easier for your body to digest. That's a real benefit that older adults, in particular, can appreciate. The process also concentrates nutrients and creates that distinct, rich aroma you only find in real steak craftsmanship. Morton S also takes the time to train its servers to know exactly where each cut of beef comes from and how it is graded. So you're not just buying fancy marketing words, you're buying verified high-quality meat. If you want the experience of a fine steakhouse that has truly earned its stellar reputation, Morton's delivers both health and satisfaction in every single bite. Let's move on to Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar, where they practice smart pairings and honest cooking. Fleming's elevates the steak dinner by approaching it like a science experiment, almost like chemistry. Every wine pairing on their menu is intentionally designed to balance flavor, fat, and acidity. Instead of drowning their beautiful steaks in heavy sauces, they let the meat's natural oils do the work. This is important because the tannins in certain wines, when paired properly, can actually aid in digestion and even reduce fat oxidation during your meal. Fleming's uses this science to enhance your enjoyment without compromising your health. They're also transparent about their sourcing and marbling grades, which is something most restaurants would never mention. For guests who value knowledge and authenticity, that honesty builds real trust. If you enjoy a glass of wine with your dinner, Fleming's is a smart and safe choice. A leaner cut like a filet mignon paired with a light red wine makes for a wonderfully balanced, heart-friendly meal. Number 5 is the Capitol Grill, which proves that a large chain can still do things the right way, without compromise. Each location actually maintains its own dry aging room, where steaks are aged under perfectly controlled humidity and temperature. This commitment to consistency creates an incredible depth of flavor without the health risks that come from reheated or mass-produced meat. And here's something I love. The chefs are allowed to adjust their cooking methods manually. They're not just following a rigid timer chart. This means your steak is cooked based on skill and experience, not just automation. They also keep their side dishes simple and fresh, focusing on quality ingredients rather than flashy gimmicks. For a corporate steakhouse, the Capital Grille really sets the standard for doing things right. If you want predictable excellence and real, deep flavor, this is an incredibly safe bet. Finally, we have to talk about the gold standard of integrity, Peter Luger Steakhouse in New York. Peter Luger isn't flashy. It doesn't need to be. Every steak here is USDA prime, aged in-house, and portioned by hand. There are no mysterious sauces, no misleading menu names, just pure, expertly handled beef cooked with absolute precision. This beautiful simplicity is what makes it so safe and nourishing. You are eating real high-quality protein with minimal processing, prepared at the perfect temperature to preserve its nutrients and minimize any harmful byproducts. If you ever find yourself in New York and want to experience steak done perfectly, Peter Luger is still the benchmark. No shortcuts, no surprises, just honest craftsmanship, which is something both your body and your taste buds will thank you for. These steakhouses remind us that quality and honesty still exist, even in a world filled with fast food and flashy marketing. The real secret to a great steak is about luxury, or a high price tag. It's about discipline, freshness, and a deep respect for the ingredients. As I often tell my patients, good health isn't just about avoiding the bad choices. It's also about rewarding the places and the people who still do things the right way. When you eat with awareness, you don't just protect your body, you also support the kind of honest food culture that we all deserve. As a doctor, I've always seen food as one of the most powerful forms of medicine. What we choose to eat and where we choose to eat it can either build our health or slowly break it down. It's a choice we make every single day, and it matters more than you might think. Recently, I've been taking a deep dive into steakhouse chains across the country, and what I've found is eye-opening. The biggest danger isn't always the steak itself, but rather the illusion of quality that surrounds it. It's that feeling you get when you're repaying a premium price for something that just doesn't live up to the hype. Think about it. Have you ever been to a restaurant where the menu is expertly designed to distract you, where everything sounds incredible, but the final product is just meh? This happens when butter is used to mask a lack of skill, when fancy words like prime are tossed around as marketing buzzwords rather than a true measure of quality. This is where we don't just lose our hard-earned money, but we also start to lose our trust in the food industry. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. We still have incredible choices out there. There are real steakhouses that stand for something more. Places like Ruth's Chris, Texas Roadhouse, Morton's, and the legendary Peter Luger. These establishments prove that integrity and health can absolutely go hand in hand. They remind us what real food is supposed to be. These are the places where your steak is cooked fresh, not sitting under a heat lamp. They're places where the chefs handle the food with genuine care and respect, and where the menu is served with a side of honesty. These are the values we desperately need to protect in our food culture. It's about more than just a meal. It's about honoring the ingredients and the people who prepare them. So, the next time you sit down for a great steak dinner, I want you to remember this one simple rule. If the flavor stands on its own, you're eating real quality. Don't be fooled by fancy presentations or clever marketing. Choose freshness over flash. Choose authenticity over advertising. And above all, choose places that value your health just as much as they value your appetite. If this message helped you see your food in a new light, I'd be so grateful if you'd share it with your friends and family. Like this video, subscribe for more doctor-backed food guidance, and share it with someone you care about. Because when we eat smarter together, we all grow healthier together. Thanks for watching.